Hi, I'm Ashley with Campbell. Thanks for investing your time to help your community be a great place to live. Before you watch the video, make sure to click the subscribe button so that we can help you make educated decisions as a board member.
I am so excited to be with you all today, and let me just share my screen here. All right, are you able to see my screen?
I don't see it yet. It looks like it says has started screen Jacky Ham has started screen sharing, but I don't see the presentation just yet.
Okay, bear with me one moment.
Ah, I see it.
Okay, terrific. Sorry about that.
Well, now I see your screensaver, or your background, but I did see your I did just see the presentation. I don't know where it went, but I did see it.
Okay, 1 second. All right, doing better now?
Yep, I see it.
Okay, terrific. Technology. So again, Ashley, thank you so much, and thank you to Campbell for having me on today. I'm really excited to talk to you about Wi-Fi, and I have to admit, I wasn't very excited when I first put this course together, but it's really cool to think about the way that Wi-Fi has changed our lives for the better. So my name is Jacky Ham. I'm the Senior Vice President of Sales for BlueStream Fiber. And so, like Ashley mentioned, this presentation will last about 30 minutes. And please, type in your Q&A as we go along. If I can, I'll stop along the way and answer some questions. But if not, I'll definitely take some questions at the end. So what I've got for you today is 4 agenda items. So I want to talk to you about the evolution of Wi-Fi technology. It's really kind of interesting. Then we'll talk about some internet patterns and trends in Florida households and why Wi-Fi is so important. Next, we'll talk about Wi-Fi stability, what it means and why it's important, and how do we get it. And then last, we'll talk about the benefits of Wi-Fi 6, which is one of the latest versions of Wi-Fi that's currently available. So the evolution of Wi-Fi technology, before we really talk about Wi-Fi, there's one thing we want to clarify. Internet and Wi-Fi are not necessarily the same thing. So we often think of them as the same thing. And when we're talking about connecting to the internet, we often say, oh, my Wi-Fi connection, or, I need Wi-Fi to get to the internet. And you do in some cases. But really the internet is what we consider the global network of networks, where computers communicate with each other via Internet Protocol, or IP, as you'll sometimes hear it called. And it's generally known as a wide area network. So it's a WAN. The internet is what allows me in Fort Myers to connect and be able to talk with all of you on your computers and your laptops across the entire country and across the entire world. So there are 2 ways to get onto the internet. One is a wired connection, and then of course the other is Wi-Fi. And that stands for it's an abbreviation for wireless fidelity. So that's what allows us to connect to the internet just without wireless cables. So now that we've got that established, let's talk about the way that Wi-Fi was created, the invention of Wi-Fi. So just like the internet, no one person created Wi-Fi by themselves. But basically, Wi-Fi was born out of an experiment in 1985. The Federal Communications Commission made an unprecedented move and opened up several small sections of airwaves for unlicensed use. So that meant that anyone who followed the rules could use that spectrum. So engineers began testing in this space and using it for early wireless home appliances like baby monitors, garage door openers, microwaves. Some of you might even remember back in the day, in the 80s, when sometimes those wireless communication systems would conflict with each other. And for instance, you might hear your neighbor's telephone conversation on the baby monitor. Well, several years later, engineers in warehouses used the spectrum to connect multiple computers to track inventory. So where there's a need, there becomes innovation, and Wi-Fi was born. So interestingly, though, the foundation of Wi-Fi and what it's based on and the wireless technology that we use today was actually started back when Nikola Tesla first started investigating frequency hopping. So that was a look at the way that radio frequency could be manipulated to increase wireless communications. And then later on, Hedy Lamarr and George Antheil did some research in World War II to try to figure out how they could use frequency hopping to make sure that torpedo target locations could be transferred by the military without being intercepted by the enemy. And then later on, scientists were interested in the way that black holes used radio frequency or created radio frequency and how that all interacted. So all of this work that was done for over 100 years led to where we are today with Wi-Fi. So a brief background, a couple of milestones to point out to you about the history of Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi was first released to the public in 1997, and at the time it was named 802.11, and that's still a part of the name of Wi-Fi today. In 1999, it was updated to permit faster speeds and was renamed 802.11b. In 1999, the term Wi-Fi was actually trademarked by a brand consulting firm named Interbrand. Of course, once Apple integrated Wi-Fi into its products, it spread like wildfire. In 2009, Wi-Fi 4 boosted data speeds with dual bands and combined the benefits of Wi-Fi 2 and Wi-Fi 3. In 2013, Wi-Fi 5 brought forth the use of multi-user MIMO or MIMO and mesh networks to increase speed and enable multiple device usage. And then in 2019, Wi-Fi 6 was introduced into the marketplace. So Wi-Fi today, some argue that Wi-Fi and the internet are, one or two of the greatest inventions created in the last 50 years. Arguably, there have been so many great inventions, but when you think about the way that we use Wi-Fi today and that it's a technology that was launched just 20 years ago, so it's very new technology. Wi-Fi has evolved from an experiment to a necessity that contributes billions of dollars to the United States economy. We think about it almost like electricity. When you lose Wi-Fi in your home, the instant thought is, oh my gosh, what's happening? How long can I be without it? Where can I go to get it? So we're all using Wi-Fi today like never before. And so some things to really think about, and just the fast pace of technology over the last 20 years. When the first iteration of Wi-Fi was launched back in 1997, 802.11b, the maximum speed that could be delivered via Wi-Fi was just 11 megabits per second. So barely anything. And now over time, with each generation of Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi 2, 3, 4, and 5, and now Wi-Fi 6, we can deliver speeds of up to 10 gigabits per second over Wi-Fi. Now, that 10 gigabits per second is in a lab environment. So if you're trying to get 10 gigabits over Wi-Fi today, it probably won't happen in your household. But the point is that Wi-Fi has grown, and it is improved so much over just the last 20 years. So why is that important? Let's talk about internet patterns and trends in Florida households. So a couple of things to point out. Between 2021 and 2022, the number of Wi-Fi connected homes grew by 10%. I'm sorry, the number of Wi-Fi connected devices in the home grew by 10% to a remarkable, depending on which report you look at, 17 to 25 connected devices in the average household. So when you're thinking about Wi-Fi connected devices, you're thinking about the things that normally pop out in your mind, like a laptop, a cell phone, a tablet. But now we're including things like lights, Ring doorbells, thermostats, front door locks. So not only did we increase the number of devices in our home that are connected to Wi-Fi, but we also saw data consumption grew by 11% in just 1 year. So that has to do with the amount of internet service that your devices in your home are using. And the market for smart home devices is just getting started as more and more people realize and enjoy the convenience that comes from a connected home. So all of these things are impacting the way that we think about Wi-Fi and the way we rely on Wi-Fi on a daily basis. So 4 trends that I picked out to talk to you today about are working from home. And from what we can see, working from home is here to stay. Telehealth engagement and satisfaction is high. So that's another trend we expect to see for the long term. Like I just mentioned, the number of internet devices connected in the home has grown and is growing. And then social media content creation and audiences. So during the pandemic, we know that about 80 to 85% of Americans were working from home, and that required an instantaneous, almost overnight dependence on internet service in our homes. We went from just, checking emails on the couch in the evenings to living our entire work lives and home lives in our home. So now, fast forward a little bit, and things have stabilized and gotten a little bit back to normal. We still find that 45% of respondents to recent surveys said at least one or more household member is working from home at least some of the time. And 99% of those working from home like the aspects of working from home. And going forward, 75% of remote workers want a virtual hybrid option. So what's really interesting is that we saw at the peak of the pandemic in 2020, 80 to 85% of Americans were working from home. And then there was a shift, and employers said, hey, why don't we all come back into the office? And some did, but then also employers started to hear from employees who said, no, wait a second, we don't really want to do that. We'd prefer some kind of a hybrid solution where I come into the office sometimes, but I also have the option to work from my home as well. So we see this like kind of a sliding scale. Depending on the year, we've seen an increase in working from home and then a slight decrease, but we expect that there will always be some component of working from home in the future. So as we're thinking about this for Florida households and Florida homeowners, that's going to be something that's very important for people who are moving into Florida or moving around Florida when they're looking for their next home. Telehealth engagement and satisfaction is high. So another trend here, telehealth refers to the ability to visit with your doctor or a health professional via the internet using a platform like we're using today, like Zoom, instead of actually visiting the doctor's office. So 50% of consumers have attended at least one virtual medical appointment as a patient in the last year, and 26% have accompanied someone else on a virtual appointment. The vast majority are satisfied with the experience. Consumers intend to use virtual health even after the pandemic. And what we've seen is that once people try it and they get comfortable with it, they really like it. Especially for people who have chronic or ongoing conditions, 45% of those respondents are interested in virtual or hybrid approaches to telemedicine. And part of the reason is it's just convenient. You save yourself about an hour and a half to 2 hours because you're not having to drive to a doctor's appointment, wait in the office, wait for the doctor to see you. Instead, you're just jumping onto your laptop, having your conversation with the doctor, and moving on with your day. Like I mentioned earlier, more devices than ever are connected to the internet. So Florida has consistently ranked third when it comes to connected devices, just behind New York and California. Smart home automation systems include a wide range of solutions for controlling and monitoring and automating functions in the home. So when we're thinking about things like controlling, think about controlling something inside of your home, like your thermostat. So let's say you've gone on a trip You crank up the AC to 75 because you're going to be gone. What's the point of making the house nice and cool if no one's going to be there? You land at the airport and you remember, oh, the house is going to be really warm when I get there. So you jump on your phone, you change the thermostat on your wireless device away from home, and you crank it back down from 75 to a nice cool 69 degrees. So when you walk in the door, your house is climate controlled. That's an example of controlling some of your home environment solutions over a wireless device. Monitoring, that has to do with seeing what's going on in the house. So we think about security cameras, Ring doorbells, maybe even leak detection, those things that help you monitor what's happening in the house. And then automating functions. This would be, think about your coffee maker that's connected to Wi-Fi, or your lights that are connected to Wi-Fi. All these things that can be controlled using a wireless device or some kind of voice automation. Makes life very easy and convenient when you install them and learn how to use them. So we know 40% of consumers have connected more devices to their home internet since the pandemic. The last trend, the fourth trend I wanted to talk to you about is social media content. So, what's interesting about all these trends we're talking about, a lot of them became very popular and very prevalent because of the pandemic. And social media is no different. So there's two populations we need to talk about when we talk about social media content. The first is influencers, and the second is their audience. Influencers. So you've probably heard this term. It's become very popular. In fact, my husband claims that when he retires, his retirement job is he's going to be an internet influencer. We'll see about that. I don't know if that's going to pan out for him. But an influencer is one of two things. It's either a person who's a celebrity who already has fame and credibility and uses their influence to influence others to take action. Or it can also be someone who builds recognition and builds authenticity or even credibility online by building a brand through creating content and uploading it onto platforms like Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So just like the name says, an influencer influences others using platforms, social media platforms like Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So audience, that's the rest of us. We're the ones watching the influencers and paying attention to what they're doing and what they're saying. 96% of people have said that they've watched an explainer video to learn more about a product or service. So the way that this works is that companies are using explainer videos to provide more information and education about their products and services so that their customers engage more with their products, are more satisfied with their brands, and ultimately buy more. So brands are hiring influencers to create explainer videos, and that's how social media is having an impact on Wi-Fi. Now, why is this important? Well, influencers are uploading content into the internet, and the audience is downloading that content and consuming it that way. So again, very reliant on Wi-Fi connectivity and quality. Leading to that, Wi-Fi stability, what it means and why it's important. When we think about Wi-Fi stability, the easiest way to think about it is to think about a road. So let's just say I-75. When you have Wi-Fi stability, it's like being on I-75 when there's very little traffic. All the cars are able to move at a consistent pace. Everyone can go the speed limit, which of course we all do. So everyone gets to their destination quickly, safely, efficiently. So it's a very easy, smooth path. The opposite would be when we don't have Wi-Fi stability and we don't have a good Wi-Fi connection. It's like being on I-75 in the middle of a thunderstorm at 5 o'clock traffic in Naples in the middle of season. And maybe there's an accident that's happened. The cars are not moving efficiently. There's too many people on the road. We're going extremely slow, or maybe we're even at a standstill. Having good Wi-Fi stability is like being on I-75 in optimum conditions. So if you think about this, Wi-Fi stability leads to the faster download and upload speeds that you experience. It's easier to work with documents, to stream videos, and it can also improve your productivity. So you're able to do things like be more productive. You can communicate easier. You don't have any glitches on platforms like Zoom. You don't have any freezing or any buffering. Entertainment and gaming is better. And ultimately, you can just get things done faster. What I hear from most people is that when they don't have a good Wi-Fi connection, they experience a lot of frustration. And sometimes, especially for a user that doesn't understand technology, quite as much as someone else, they feel like it's their fault and they aren't able to accomplish things, as quickly as they want to. Like, getting online to pay a bill could take an extremely long time if you've got a very slow Wi-Fi connection because you're waiting for the page to load. And then you're waiting for something else to happen. And then in the meantime, you're getting distracted by something else. And by the time you come back, your page has been lost. So all of this is very important when we think about how productive and successful we are in using the internet in our homes. So next we need to talk about upload and download speeds as it relates to Wi-Fi. In the past, there was really one option, and that was asymmetrical internet speeds. And when we talk about internet speeds, there's upload and there's download. So if you think about download, download refers to how fast you receive information, like downloading files, loading a website, or streaming video and music. Upload speed refers to how fast you send information, sending emails and files. Zoom and telemedicine are ways that we upload information to the internet. And now there's another option. So there's asymmetrical speeds, which means that your download speed could be very, very fast, but your upload speed may not be as fast. So for instance, you might have an asymmetrical internet connection with a 1 gig download speed and a 35 megabit per second upload speed. But now we have symmetrical speeds so that you can have the same upload and download. So again, the faster that your upload and your download are working, the better your Wi-Fi stability is. So the benefits of Wi-Fi 6, the latest generation of Wi-Fi. How is Wi-Fi 6 different than the earlier 5 versions of Wi-Fi? So Wi-Fi 6 communicates better with multiple devices that need data simultaneously and more efficiently, and it also more efficiently prioritizes traffic across those devices. So if we think back to 1997, when we were using our Wi-Fi, we were really only concerned about maybe connecting 1 or 2 wireless devices to our network. Over time, we've seen multiple devices connect, and now with Wi-Fi 6 is not only built for speed, but it's also built for multiple devices connecting and still having a great experience on the Wi-Fi. The way that Wi-Fi 6 is different is that it communicates better with multiple devices that need data simultaneously, and it also more efficiently prioritizes traffic across those devices. And the way that Wi-Fi does this is that it splits each transmission into a stream to multiple devices at the same time in the same space. So that sounds really complicated. But if you think about it like this, Wi-Fi 6 takes a look at all the devices that are connected on your in-home network. And let's say that you've got 10 devices that are connected. Wi-Fi 6 is able to see what those 10 devices are doing, what levels of Wi-Fi those devices can actually accept. And then Wi-Fi 6 says to each individual device, I'm going to send you the right amount of internet service so that you could do what you need to do and get to the internet efficiently. So it's like being on I-75 when there's no slowdowns and there's no traffic. That's what Wi-Fi 6 does for our in-home Wi-Fi experience. Some of the benefits of Wi-Fi 6 are high data speeds and transmission rates, even when there are multiple devices. So, what could be considered a congested Wi-Fi network. It also allows performance in environments with many connected devices. You'll see increased capacity and improved security, and then also improved efficiency, battery life, and energy consumption. And we'll talk a little bit more about these 4 things. So 90% of Americans have at least one smart home device. Wi-Fi 6 creates organized, efficient networks that support higher traffic. So again, if you think about all these devices that are connected to the internet, Wi-Fi 6 can handle all these devices and make sure that they can get out to the internet without causing any delay or any frustration for the end user. Wi-Fi 6 also improves battery life. In the past, earlier generations of Wi-Fi were constantly sending out Wi-Fi signals to the devices, like our cell phones and our laptops. So those devices were constantly looking for a Wi-Fi signal. They were constantly trying to be communicated with, which meant that they never went into sleep mode, even when you weren't using them. Wi-Fi 6, on the other hand, does not try to reach those devices until there's a need. So the great news here is that your devices can go to sleep when they don't need to be communicated with and don't need Wi-Fi, and they only wake up when a Wi-Fi connection is needed. So that's how you save on battery life. Now, security is the next piece of this, and I won't go into a whole lot of detail here, but Wi-Fi 6, over time, scientists and engineers recognized that there was a need for improved security across Wi-Fi. In the past, we were all very worried about downloading Norton antivirus or antivirus software onto our laptops and our computers. But now over time, we've seen that there are actually more threats to our Wi-Fi connected devices than ever before. So, whereas a laptop might have been interesting 10 to 15 years ago for people looking to do nefarious things, now it's some of the more inconspicuous Wi-Fi devices that are being attacked and are causing data breaches. So Wi-Fi 6 brings increased password security and makes it more difficult to crack into a network that's created by Wi-Fi 6. So I've got a little video for you that's short, but is very cute and will demonstrate to you some of the benefits of Wi-Fi 6.
Stay at 67. Stay at 67. Increasing to 72.
Locked. Continuing to remain locked.
Eat the dirt, eat the dirt, eat the dirt. Brewing, 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 brewing. On my order, transfer your last 300 videos to me.
Transferring baby videos now.
No, baby, wait. Coffee, what are you doing? Garage door. Unlock and open. My door, man. Ah, we've been hacked. Whatever coffee says, do the opposite. Thermostat off. No, thermostat on. Lights off. Music on.
No.
Oh, you're not gonna believe this.
What's going on?
The neighbors got hacked again.
Weird. You never get hacked.
Nope. No, we don't. Introducing Advanced IoT Protection. Only from Plume.
So you get it. Security is a big deal around Wi-Fi, and actually that was a great video. It reminded me of some additional Wi-Fi connected devices, Internet of Things devices that I'd forgotten about, like Roombas. So just a great example of all the things that are connected into our home using Wi-Fi, and the benefits that have happened because of the evolution of Wi-Fi that now can protect us more than ever before. So the question is, what do I need to make Wi-Fi 6 work? It's pretty simple. You just need to have a Wi-Fi 6 capable router and devices that can use Wi-Fi 6. So just because your Wi-Fi router is Wi-Fi 6, it doesn't necessarily mean that your other connected devices, like your phone, like your tablet, like your laptop, are also Wi-Fi 6 compatible. But that's okay. Wi-Fi 6 is backwards compatible. So what that means is even if you have a device that's Wi-Fi 4, it can still work on a Wi-Fi 6 platform. So an example would be if you bought a new gaming system, you would still be able to play your old games on the new system. So same thing with Wi-Fi 6. So that is the end of my course on the evolution of Wi-Fi. I hope I kept it simple, but interesting. And I do see that I've got one question in the Q&A. So the question is, what are the cost trends to Wi-Fi services? Is it more economical or is it more costly given the need for higher technology? So that is a great question, Mary. I think if I understand the question, is Wi-Fi more costly? I don't know that Wi-Fi is more costly. Typically, internet service, whether you buy that internet service from an internet service provider with a wired connection, or if you use cellular services for your Wi-Fi, the cost is the cost, regardless of whether it's just a connection to the internet or if it's Wi-Fi. So I think the question about how cost effective it would be depends on how many Wi-Fi devices that you're wanting to connect to your network. Okay, Robert Ash pointed out that Wi-Fi 7 is now available. So yes, that's very true. And actually, there's Wi-Fi 6 that's currently the most common Wi-Fi platform at this time, meaning that most most routers and devices that we use today have Wi-Fi 6. However, 6E is now coming out and Wi-Fi 7 has also been released. So although Wi-Fi has evolved over the last 20 years, it's not stopping. So there will definitely be new iterations that come into the future. Okay. So this is a question here. Do you recommend a Wi-Fi extender? So it depends on the space that you're trying to provide Wi-Fi service to, as well as the construction of that space. So Wi-Fi works off radio frequencies, and we know that radio frequencies like to have wide open spaces. So if you have construction like cement block construction, or if you have a lot of things like mirrors or hurricane glass windows, sometimes those can interfere with traditional Wi-Fi coverage. And in those cases, a Wi-Fi extender could be a really good fit, not only to increase the Wi-Fi strength, but also to try to get it to cover a larger area. So it kind of depends on what your circumstances are, but it's great to look online, to Google, look at some options, check out some Google reviews. Another question that came through was, explain why you don't receive 100% of the speed over Wi-Fi that you're paying for. So this is a great question, and it's one that we get a lot. So typically, when you have a wired internet connection from a provider, we as providers are able to guarantee 100%, typically, depending on the provider, but we're able to guarantee 100% of the internet speed that you're paying for if you're connected with a wired connection to your router or to your modem. Wi-Fi, because of the fact that it eliminates that wired connection, there is a certain amount of speed and throughput loss because you're eliminating that wire. So depending on the router that you're using and the devices that you have, you will typically see a reduction in the amount of speed that's delivered over Wi-Fi versus what's delivered with a wired connection. So a wired connection will always be the fastest and most reliable connection. Even though Wi-Fi has evolved, wired will always give you faster, a more reliable connection. So here's a question. Can you talk about how Wi-Fi 6 will affect cable providers? So Wi-Fi 6 will affect cable providers from what we've seen at BlueStream and across the industry is that customers will be wanting the latest versions of Wi-Fi. So we saw that when we moved from Wi-Fi 5 to Wi-Fi 6, our customers were aware of this change. They were aware of the evolution. They were aware of the benefits of Wi-Fi 6. And so they're asking for that. And I think as more and more customers become more educated about the way that Wi-Fi works in their homes, and they're looking for a better, faster, more efficient Wi-Fi connection, customers will continue to ask for that equipment to be upgraded. Now, for providers of internet service, we will need to continue to purchase routers and mesh Wi-Fi equipment that are Wi-Fi 6 or Wi-Fi 6E or eventually Wi-Fi 7. So typically what we see when it comes to internet hardware, and the hardware is like the actual device that's placed in your home, usually that equipment needs to be replaced every so often, if not because of a new version of technology that comes out, simply because electronic devices need to be updated because they might be end of life, or there might be software that needs to be updated in them as well. So really that'll be a continuing consideration for providers, is how do we make sure that we're keeping up with the latest and greatest versions of Wi-Fi hardware. David, thank you for your question. Going forward, what computers are ready to receive 2 gig and above service? So that is an interesting question. I don't know off the top of my head. I would have to Google to see, which computers, which cell phones are coming out with 2 gig capability. But that's a great point. Although internet speeds are increasing, the internet speed that you receive really depends on the device that you have and how much speed that device can accept. Let's see. Okay, so there's a question here from David regarding, we have a 114 unit complex right now where each unit is getting their own internet from Comcast on their own for between $35 to $90 per unit. Would there be an economy of scale if we go with an ISP company or Wi-Fi for the entire complex and have the costs bundled into an HOA fee? David, that's a wonderful question. And the simple answer is yes. So a little divergent here, but there are options that HOAs and COAs have. Being associations, you have the ability to buy as a group. So a wholesale way to purchase TV and or internet services. And the way this would work is that, you would talk to various providers and let them know what kind of service the HOA or the COA would like to provide to 100% of the residents. And then the association can negotiate with that provider to deliver whatever services the association would like at a significantly discounted rate for all of the residents that would then be billed through the HOA dues. So the short answer to the question is that there are significant savings to be received for the residents of a community if there is a bulk agreement in place. Now, I will say it's not for everyone. But for those communities that are interested in that kind of cost savings and the residents are interested in it, absolutely there's savings to be had. Okay, Ralph says he's a bit disappointed. I was expecting to hear about condo or even HOA solutions that could provide more efficient and cost-effective solutions to their communities than everyone creating their own solutions. Ralph, please, my contact information will be available. Please reach out to me. I'd love to discuss specific options that could work for your community. Okay, so another comment here about cable subscribers, why they see buffering and fiber folks don't have that issue. So, but that's a big question. And there's a lot of things that impact the way that internet service works inside of a home, not just the Wi-Fi, but also the actual internet connection to the home. So there are a lot of things that can impact the way that Wi-Fi is delivered to the home. There could be, the medium with which it's been installed. So as you can imagine, a medium that's been in the ground for the last 50 years, that's not been protected in conduit, that maybe has some limitations to it, may not be able to deliver the fastest, symmetrical speeds that fiber optics can deliver. So long story short, there can be, some pretty significant impacts and improvements that can be made in upgrading to fiber optics. So that's the first part of that question. And then once inside of the home, making sure that you've got Wi-Fi 6 or the latest version of Wi-Fi technology is also really important in terms of how you experience the Wi-Fi inside of your home. So I'll keep it simple with that answer, but please, if you'd like to discuss further, I would love to have a individual conversation with anyone who'd like to discuss that in more detail. Let's see here. Francis has a question. When looking for a bulk package, does the whole association have to participate? Can you have, say, 50% that want to join in a bulk package? Francis, that is also an interesting question. Typically in a bulk solution or a bulk scenario, there is 100% participation that is required. However, some providers do have some creative solutions and options that may not require 100% participation. So please, give me a call if you'd like to discuss that further as well. Just some quick housekeeping on the CEU credits for the course. If you'd like to, you can use the QR code that's on the screen right now and simply use your camera, train it on the QR code, and it'll bring up a little link that'll take you right into the survey. But if you don't have the ability to do that, you can also use the survey link down at the bottom. And if you're still having trouble with that, please let me know and I will make sure that you get credit for the CEU course.
All right, yeah, and I did just go ahead and launch the survey, the poll, to get your feedback on how we did today. I think, did you have any more questions you wanted to answer in there, Jacky, or did you get to all of them?
There was one that popped up that I thought would be interesting, and it was, how do I tell which version of Wi-Fi I have on my computer or my system? So it depends on the device that you're using, but if it's a Windows device, what you can do is just go into your settings feature, go into Wi-Fi, and then look at the properties link. And that's where you can see whether it's Wi-Fi 5, Wi-Fi 6, or Wi-Fi E, or a quick Google search will give you some information about how to check on your specific devices and see what Wi-Fi version you're using.
Thanks for watching. For more great educational content, click the subscribe button now.